everyone. Welcome back to another episode. Awesome people joining us every week. And, out of the box. And I think a lot of times when people tune in, they think we're just going to speak. Here I am, speak to people that are local. And if you haven't noticed, I've been bringing in amazing talent in all different areas, talking about their expertise, not just in what they do, but also from the business sense. And today's guest, no different. We have with us today Owen Lancie with Fanfare Signatures. And I have to just say, like, you have a great backstory. So let's just jump right into it. So, Owen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you. No, thank you for having me. Yeah, we could just jump right in.
So, first of all, you have a pretty cool background. So, let's just start with who you are and
Okay,
how
so
people may know you are named Lancie.
that's right. So for people who are familiar, my father, John Delancey, was an actor. Actually, both my parents were in the film industry. So I grew up in Los Angeles, around the film industry. But my dad specifically is probably one of the more recognizable faces from Star Trek. He played Q on Star Trek, a long-running series, as everybody knows, and actually he's one of the few crossover characters from basically Next Generation all the way through, pretty much. So growing up around that, I was growing up around a lot of the convention circuit, a lot of the memorabilia market space. And so I saw that a lot. I saw a lot of, going to the shows, my dad going to the conventions and all that kind of stuff. My partner and I actually went to architecture school, so completely divergent. But my partner, who I met in architecture school, her and I started a business called Point Two Design Group, where we started making sort of wall art and wall design stuff for hotel chains, government agencies, things like that. And so we started a printing business, designing and printing all that kind of stuff for those companies. And then all throughout the 10 years we were doing that, we were expanding, created 30 different production houses around the world, different countries, so we can produce things sort of on demand, custom made on demand in country for our clients. Along comes the pandemic. Everything shuts down. I should add, I'm also, as most good millennial children are, I'm my parents' tech person. So I run my dad's website for him because, I don't know, he doesn't want to pay somebody else. And so he started getting floods of people just writing in saying, hey, I'm so sad that the conventions are shut down. I was really hoping to get something signed from you. Can I send that in through the mail? Can I send some cash in the mail through USPS and then have you sign it and send it back to me? Of course, this happens a lot. I should say a lot of celebrities from all different backgrounds get this kind of fan mail. And largely nobody's ever really done anything about it. Some people do it. Lots of people don't because it's just too cumbersome. It's too much time constraint. And for my dad, while he did do it before the pandemic, he was just like, nothing's even open. I can't do this. And that's what sparked the idea a little bit in my head. I went, oh, well, actually, maybe there's something that could be done. I mean, we have a on-demand printing system, so there must be something to do there. And so in that was sort of born the Fanfare idea. And that is that our tools that we use, our hardware tools we use for our design, whether it's our mapping design, architectural design, or just our illustrative work, whatever it might be, we use certain hardware tools that are, ubiquitous within the design world, but largely not accessible or not used by very many people. And we took those tools, we developed our own system and our own app. And I said, Dad, I'm going to send you an iPad and a digital stylus. And then I'm going to start taking these orders down from these people that want your signature. And let's just have you sign on the iPad directly, write them a little note by hand directly. And then we can print it out and send it to their address. Let's just see what happens. And we set it up. And like 6 weeks later, there was like $30,000 worth of people who were like, this is awesome. I really want this. And so we were kind of like, oh, well, that's interesting. Okay, let's kind of expand from there. So we went into some of the other, family friends that we have in the movie and television industry. And we started to get actually some partnerships, with Paramount, CBS, starting to actually be able to do some real licensed art pieces. And we created Fanfare, and we just started creating a little bit of a marketplace. And then we have been expanding since then. Now we are, in the sports world with our NFLPA partnership. We're looking at MLB that we're, getting close on. So we're expanding NHRA, so motorsports. It kind of runs the gambit. There's so many different verticals for this idea, but essentially the principal idea here is we feel we've created a tool for the celebrities toolbox. Essentially, it makes this whole thing accessible. It's good for the fan because it means that fans that don't necessarily or can't travel for whatever reason and go to these events, they can now also access the same level of interaction or personal messaging and autograph from their favorite legends. And for the celebrity's sake, it's a turnkey service. We do the entire thing. They sign, but we take all the payments, we take all the orders, we send it to their app. They just have to do the signatures every time for the order, but 30 seconds per piece. And they get, they can choose to have the money go to charity or whatever they want to do. And then as soon as it's done, within 24 hours, one of our production houses has produced it, framed it, hardware on the back for hanging, put it in a box, and shipped it out through the mail. So we see it as sort of a turnkey service, and it's sort of revolutionizing what has largely been a very analog and antiquated system up until now. So
I'm just blown away because, not to date myself, but I'm 51 years old, and I can remember getting magazines and having your little, girl crushes, and you're saying, I would love to get an autograph picture. I would love to get an 8x10. And so everything you're saying, I think as I've matured, I have not taken into consideration how many people are still intimately involved with their causes or their followings. So when you think about these circuits, right? Like you're saying,
yep,
Comic-Con, and you have all of these different circuits. You literally have communities full of people who are probably, I don't want to use the word lost, but that is what they look forward to. That is where they connect with other of like kind people within their
absolutely.
circuits. So you've created this opportunity where you've given them something not just intimate, but you've given them something that's tangible.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
I love that.
and I think that to add to that, so you're absolutely right. And I grew up, being around a lot of those like Trekkies and other Comic-Con people, great communities, right? And it's always actually kind of nice to watch. I mean, to be honest, these are people a lot of times who are, at least back in the day would have been considered nerds or geeks or whatever the term is, whatever you want to wear as badge of honor. But they really create their own community, and it's really cool to see. And so that's one thing, and they get to, and the tangible aspect of this means that this is something they share. But I also would say that these sort of celebrities, there's something about growing up or living your life with these people in your living room night after night after night after night, right? And especially I would say the further back you go, I mean, especially the TVs, the shows that have stood the test of time, people grow up with this stuff. People like vivid memories of the family every Friday night sitting down to watch such and such. And so I think that that's why people are still so gravitated towards, well, why would what difference does it make to get that actor to sign it? Well, I think it's really meaningful for a lot of people. That it for them, they look at it and it's like this commemoration of their life, how they were raised, what it was like in their household, right? And so I think that's part of what this whole memorabilia thing and what we're doing is sort of tapping into and saying this should be accessible to everybody, not just the people who can afford to fly to expensive in-person events. Because Comic-Con, let's be serious, it's not cheap, right? It's not cheap to attend.
No.
So and it's also not very accessible. A lot of the people that write in on the reviews on our products, they're like, I have a disability. I could never be able to actually make it out to New York and get to it's just not possible for me. So, I think part of this is just like opening it up, opening the market up, lowering the barrier of entry and saying everybody should be able to participate in this.
I love it. So what we're going to do is we're going to break really quick for a commercial, and then we're going to come right back. So once again, we are speaking with Owen Lancie, and he is, I guess, the founder of Fanfare Signatures. So stay tuned. We're just going to break really quick, and we are going to be right back. And And welcome back. Once again, we are with Owen Lancie Fanfare Signatures. And oh my goodness, so interesting. First of all, I love, love, love the creativeness, right? There are people that gravitate into business. Here you are, the son of an actor, well, a child of actor parents, right?
That's
And
right.
you go to school for architecture, you're married with children, you're traveling around, and lo and behold, you're like, oh, I have this great concept. And a lot of times when I speak to entrepreneurs, they're just not willing to take action. So let's talk a little bit about the business side of
Mm.
creating fanfare. So you have this idea, and predominantly it surrounds, we'll just say, your dad, right? Let's call it for what it is. John Delancey. People are writing in saying, I miss you. I miss Comic Con. I miss my, ability to have that intimate meet and greet experience. And you're thinking, how could I monetize on what you're already doing and utilize the fame and success of your father to launch this business? So walk me through that dinner table discussion.
Yeah, I mean, it was, to be honest, and as I think most entrepreneurs and founders will say, it's the people closest to you that tend to be the ones that are, I don't want
Yeah.
to say the most naysaying, but the ones that are
Oh,
sort of
no, you
like,
can say it. They're negative.
yeah, they're negative,
It
right? I
will
mean,
never
it's
work. You don't have the money. Why are you wasting your time? It's not
exactly,
best served. Yeah, that's why my
exactly.
friends don't live in New York, by the way, because my real friends support me from other places.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, and I think, look, without throwing all of our family under the bus, I think it comes from a sense of worry and anxiety for you. I mean, it comes from a good place. It's the wrong message or it's the wrong way of communicating it, but it definitely comes from this place of them actually being invested more than others, frankly, in
Yeah.
your success or failure. And so my dad was one of those. He was not convinced, and he really, it took a long time to convince him. I said, please let me just run a test. Just if you can spend, give me an hour once a week to sign some stuff at most, and let me just see what happens. And but it worked, and I think that the proof was in the pudding for him. And he said, okay. And then once it started to click in, he started to talk to some of his colleagues, right, who are all in the same kind of zone. And he just started to say, look, my dad's not getting any younger. He's in his 70s. A lot of them are even older than that from the Star Trek world. And travel is becoming difficult. It's really becoming, it's burdensome. They used to do a convention every weekend. Now it's like, I'm not going to do that many. So this is sort of supplementing that. And that was certainly what he saw in this. He's like, this is so much easier. And he's engaging with fans that he never got to see at the conventions anyways. But yeah, no, it was there was, I don't know, maybe a month or two there where there was a lot of, I really think so, like, I think you're wrong. No, I really don't think I'm wrong about this.
I love the concept. So, we're walking through this business plan. So you have your dad,
Mhm.
he's willing to sign. How did you come up with your, I'll say your SOP, your standard operating procedures? Because now you've taken it from using your dad as quote unquote the guinea pig, and now you're bringing it out to other markets. So, what was that like? How did you figure out the system?
So yeah, that's been a road. We're still figuring it out. To be honest, there is no figured it out. It's just figuring it out continually. And I think we're always, I think I'm certainly learning that in business, and this is now our third business. I'm learning that there's no right answer, and it's constantly changing. You have to keep up. You have to be willing to make pivots, to learn, to listen to your clients or your customers or both in our case, and say, okay, one, and my dad is still a guinea pig, to be perfectly honest. So one of the new things that we're really excited to launch this week is we were getting comments back from certain customers about, we're inventing something new. Look, it's a virtual signature, it's digital, yes, but it is hand done. I mean, it's not a wet pen, but it is done by hand for every single order. It's their handwriting, just with a digital stylus. But it's hard, that new concept has been very difficult to get people to understand, to be perfectly honest. People have all sorts of notions. Oh, you're AI. Oh, you're a copy and paste signature. Oh, you're this, you're that, you're that. And we're like, no, no, we're not, we're not. And if once people get it, we see people go, oh, that's really cool. But it takes that level of people understanding that. So what we have introduced and what we guinea pigged my dad on is we went, well, wait a minute, we have all this tech now. So one of the things we are launching this week is biometric readers. So basically, every one of our celebrities has an account with our app, the Fanfare app, and when they set up their account, they go through the biometric reader, so the thumbprint, right, that we all have now on our phones and everything
Yeah.
else. So basically, what that means is when we go through the onboarding with a celebrity, we get them to do that with their thumbprint. They are the only ones now that can unlock the sending of that personal note that they wrote to us to actually be printed. So when somebody signs, when Donovan McNabb signs to somebody, it's his thumbprint that has to unlock that to actually go. So it means that it's just one level of security extra, frankly, that even the regular memorabilia stuff doesn't have, right? You go onto eBay and you buy something,
Yeah.
rife with knockoffs, right? And so there's I think the learning thing is about making sure you're always listening, making sure you're always willing to be introspective and say, maybe we're not doing this right, or maybe we were doing it right, but maybe what we were doing is not right anymore. And especially nowadays where things change like by the hour, it seems, trends and marketing and how all that works. So my dad still plays the guinea pig for us on that.
Which I love. One of the things that I think I'd love to know is how did you determine the price points? Because I feel like certain people may command a higher price point. And also, how are you picking the images? Is there a library of like we're using Donovan as an example. Donovan may have a headshot, but Donovan might have a shot from when he was, playing in the NFL. So is there a library of images that people can choose from that they can get signed?
So the answer to that is in a couple of parts. So we do have a full in-house illustration team. So when we do a partnership with, like, let's say like with Star Trek or with the NHRA or something like that, or the NFLPA or something, where we say, okay, we've formed this partnership. We have now, let's say, a roster. We've not just one person from a particular show, but a bunch of them, right? Then we say, okay, let's get them up with, yes, a headshot, what they're used to signing. Let them choose the price. That's the big key here. They all get to choose because they're used to actually charging something. They all do go to events. So we want to keep that comparable. We don't want people to feel like, oh, well, this is so radically different from those two venues. But in terms of the art and artistry, it really comes down to when somebody can be on the site, do the sales, get those numbers in, then we say, great, let's do some really high end, really exclusive pieces, right? And we can do that all day with our illustration team. But we do like to start with, what they're used to signing, whether it's a headshot or something like that. And then we start to work with actually the celebrity themselves to ideate on. And so many of them have this stuff already. They go, oh, I've had this idea for my character for years. I'd love to see it done. And because we have the partnership with Paramount, we are able to do that. But it does take time and it costs money, right? I mean, those exclusive pieces of art are something that that's kind of one of the things I do, as well as the CEO, is creative art director. And it's fun, but it can take a long time. There's a lot of parties involved. We like to get it really right. Everything's got to go through brand approvals and all that stuff, which can be lengthy. And then you've got the celebrities who want stuff, and many times we actually take stuff from not take stuff, but we take suggestions from fans and stuff like that. So price wise, they get to set their own price. That's very clear. That's standard across the board for us, because again, for us, the platform is really a tool for the celebrity. They should be able to use it as they want. If they want to have a signing cadence that's not on demand, they say, I'm only going to sign once a quarter or once a month. That's fine, right? It's whatever they feel they need, or they just want to do it for their charity. There's 3 charity events a year, and I just want to use your platform for that. Not a problem. We accommodate all those types of things. So
I love it. I love the creativity that goes behind it. I love the fact that you're creating an intimate experience for the fan. And if you really think about it, there is definitely a cost savings, I think, on all parties all the way around.
Yes,
There's definitely. So now,
yes.
just for the sake of time, tell everybody, how can they find fanfare signatures? What is their next step to go make a purchase from your
Yeah.
domain?
So, the biggest business wise, the biggest thing for us is obviously that the celebrity themselves is the one who's usually promoting it, right? The most, right? You're going to see, if you'll see it, like if you have somebody that you're following and all of a sudden they go, "Hey, I'm signing on this platform," it's probably going to be Fanfare, and they'll show you and direct you how to get to their Fanfare page.
Mhm.
Otherwise, though, you can go to fanfaresignatures.com and you can go and look at the roster we have to date. But again, because we're sort of a mix between a software and kind of a marketplace,
Yeah.
mostly a software service, most likely you will see it actually through our partners, right? So whether that be a charity event that's
Mhm.
happening, or a specific live event where they have, let's say it's a live sporting event, and after the game they want people to sign, but live, but through our app. That's where you're going to start to see it more and more. And that's really our business play. The marketplaces are hard to build. And so what we've decided to do is we're tackling the sort of B2B side first. That's how we're getting in with more and more of these celebrities. And over time, our roster will grow. And we expect, and it's been happening, that as somebody comes on because, let's say, an organization says, "Hey, we'd like you to sign. And by the way, we're using this company called Fanfare to do it." They use it and they go, "This is cool." And then they call us and say,
And
"Hey,
one
this is
one
really
tells
cool."
another, tells another. I think that you are
Exactly.
absolutely on to something. I love everything that you guys are doing. I am so glad that you had an opportunity to join us today. And I am
Absolutely.
sure you're going to be back on as a guest real soon. So once
Good.
again, we are talking with Owen Delancey. Tune in, look for Fanfare Signatures, check out their website. And until next time, stay tuned. We're getting ready to bring you another guest.